good job, get me employed, but now I'm moving on to the next point. Try to date a prince instead of a simp, yeah. Someone who's
Hi everyone, it's Anna and today is such an exciting video because I'm going to be giving you some very instant tips for you to just integrate into your writing routine and instantly be able to write faster. Because sometimes it's just really hard to just write. But anyways, let's go ahead and get on to the tips. Okay, so I have them written down right here so I kind of keep track of all of the 10 tips, but let's go ahead and get on to the first one. The first tip is to focus on chapter, not word count. This may seem kind of intuitive, but trust me, this works. I kind of said this in a few of my videos, but I feel like, you know, the whole word count sort of, like the whole stigma around it and like getting to that goal, it's kind of almost toxic, and it's really hard putting that pressure on yourself to write that many words in that many hours, that day. You know, it's just a lot of pressure, a lot of stress that you don't need, because I honestly think word count doesn't always translate to the progress in your book, in the sense that you don't have to write that many words in order to progress through that particular part in your book. It is kind of hard, like, you know, straying from looking at that word count, but I definitely recommend you to disable it and just focus on your plot, your book, and be fully immersed in your story, and that will just help you flow better, you know, just lose that stress and be able for you to like write quicker. And it's a tip that I live by, and yes, I guess word count can be motivating, but sometimes it can have the opposite effect, so that's why this tip is really good. However, if you don't really like that tip, tip 2 might help. This is technically for writing sprints or just days you dedicate to writing, and that is to open a new document and start writing there. It's almost like a psychological thing, because when you're on your actual manuscript and you're looking at like the amount of pages, the amount of words you have, and you can maybe get into the habit of actually, you know, going back and editing, or just like thinking about things that happened in the previous chapter. If you have a new slate, a new document, it just helps your mind realize that this is a new writing day, it's a new writing scene, it's not related to your previous chapter. Of course it is, but you kind of know what I'm saying. Like, it just helps like give yourself that new slate and not get distracted. That's the main point. Tip 3 is to not limit yourself and stop taking breaks. I don't know if this is just me, but when I go for writing sprints, for example, if doing 25 minutes and 5 minutes off, when I get to that 25-minute mark, I'm still in the mood to write, and I'm still, you know, on that sentence, on that paragraph. So like, why would I stop, if that makes sense? So I literally just like let the timer keep lapsing, and I just continue writing, and I end up writing for like an hour. Yeah, it works. So I hope this might work for you, just to kind of realize that you don't have to take a break just for the sake of taking a break if you don't need to. Of course, if you need a break and you kind of, you know, got to the end of your chapter, your paragraph, and you need that time to like recover and just take a little break, definitely do. But in the rare chances that, you know, you have that motivation and just that drive to continue writing, it's just like subconscious, and you just continue writing, you know, it's just like something you can't help. But in those situations, just keep writing, don't take breaks. But it is of course good to take breaks, but in the right time. Does that make sense? I hope that does. Number 3 is something that I want to start. I actually haven't done this too much, but I am starting it, and it's low-key so good. And that is to do writing meditations. There are some writing meditations on like YouTube and stuff like that, but what I do is I go on my bed, or even just lie on the floor, listen to like my favorite writing playlist, and imagine the scene that I'm gonna be writing. This is a really good way to have a visual on your story, because as soon as you see it in your mind and imagine it, you kind of have ideas of what the characters are going to say, what they're going to do, how they're going to express themselves, how they're feeling. These are all really great ways to kind of help you get straight into writing and continue that writing and just gain momentum in your writing sprint. So yeah, you can do this in silence, just sit on the floor, just like sit at your desk, but I like to lie down, close my eyes, do the whole shabam, and just like fully immerse myself in my story and just imagine what my next scene is going to be, instead of just going blind into my writing sessions. So that's a really good tip too. Okay, so tip number 5 kind of relates to if you struggle with getting stuck in your book and you keep stopping, starting, and you just can't get a momentum, you can't get a flow in your writing session. What you can do is grab a sticky note and dot point the goals for that chapter, or for your writing session in general. So you can either dot point what things you want to include in that chapter, so you fully like have a plan going into your writing session, or you can go a step further and write down the goals you want to kind of achieve in that writing session. So that can include writing that really hard fight scene in your book, or maybe dropping in a really good hint to foreshadow the plot twist that's going to happen in your book eventually. These 2 tips are just really good just to kind of get your mind and your own just get yourself accountable, get yourself a direction. It helps propel yourself into your writing session and help you achieve your goals for that day. So yeah, that's another tip. Okay, so the 4 next tips are really simple and just kind of self-explanatory, so I'm gonna speed through them real quick. So number 6 is to get rid of your phone. Just put it in a drawer, give it to your mom, because I don't want you scrolling on TikTok instead of actually writing, you know? Number 7, of course, is to use writing sprints. It kind of depends on how long you want to write for. I recommend doing the 25-minute, 5-minute break if that works for you, so it's like 30-minute block, or else I like to do 45 and 15-minute breaks. So yeah, use those sorts of timing methods to get your work done and have a reward. If it's a break, if it's a chocolate, if it's a show, just have a reward after your writing session. Number 8 is to turn off your internet, and yes, turn it off, because although it's tempting to look up words, to look up thesaurus, to maybe even research on your book, don't do it. It's your first draft. It's totally fine. What I would do if you did have something you wanted to check up on, or maybe have a better word for something, or you wanted to insert a metaphor that you can't really remember from a book or something like that, what you can do is insert square brackets, and then there you can kind of jot down a little note for yourself when you're going through your second draft. So good tip. So tip 9 is also kind of self-explanatory, and that is just to have a plot kind of chapter plan on your split screen. So one screen you have your actual manuscript you're writing on, next screen you have your planning document. So if you do have a plotting document, I would recommend it. If you guys want to check out a video that I made, definitely do. It's where I plotted a book in one day, and I show you exactly how I did that. So if you want, definitely go click that right now, and yeah, get those chapters plotted. And number 10, yay, we've made it to the 10th tip, and that is a really good one. I actually have been doing this for a little bit, and it does work. I can tell you it does work. And that is to change your environment. If that's going downstairs, if that's going outside, if that's going to a coffee shop, just change, your environment. Because of course I write at my desk a lot, and for example, if I had a writing session where I was stuck at a particular part in my book, if I go back and sit at my desk and open my document, I'm gonna be stuck again. So in times where you're stuck and you just can't get your writing flowing and you can't write quickly enough, definitely change your environment and see how that turns out. Anyways guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. If these tips helped, definitely subscribe to my channel. If you learned anything, I hope you did. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I also wanted to thank you all for your love and support in my previous videos. It truly just means so much, and I feel like our writing channel is just growing, and we are meeting so many cool writerly besties. So thank you so much for subscribing, and please share with your friends. Yeah, anyways guys, I wish you luck in all of your beautiful writing endeavors, and I hope to see you in my next video. And as always, keep writing. Bye!
Romeo, I wish I